First, I would like to wish everyone a happy Easter for all who participate. This is just a simple video where I want to explain how they're dealing with civil aviation now that the war is going on. I first want to point out a couple of weeks ago, a British friend flew out, and as she flew out, her sister, one of my besties, sent this screenshot, and she kind of asked the question, did the plane really follow that path? And the answer is no. This what looks like the plane is zigzagging is not true, and particularly in this case, because in this case she was flying on the A380, which is the largest civil aviation aircraft out there. It can't zigzag. It's an aircraft carrier in the sky. Anyhow, what they're doing here is they're turning the transponders on and off as they're flying. The transponder is the thing that sends a signal, this is where I am. And so when the transponder is turned off, these apps like this that are following where the plane's supposed to be, it's making an estimation of where the plane is without being really sure. And so there's confusion, put it that way. And that's on purpose. They do not want to leave the transponder on because the more they leave the transponder on, the easier it is for it to be a target if Iran were to target civil aviation, which so far they have not done, and hopefully they never will. But anyhow, so transponder, that's the thing that lets the world know where the plane is. Usually it's on all the time. So a couple of days ago, Cecile was able to fly out of the country. Very, very happy for her. And as I was tracking it, you can see here that it looks like there's just a ridiculous number of planes. This is over the Gulf of Oman, just east of the UAE. You're going to see another picture in the next that will make this clear. I just want to show you how this big cluster of planes, they're not all right there. This is the same thing with the transponder. They will assign a transponder location that all these planes are basically saying they're there, but they're not there. Again, it's to throw off anybody who might be trying to attack them. So the red plane there represents Cecile's plane, and the other planes that you're seeing there, they're all planes that are somehow bound for the UAE or exiting the UAE, and it's just they are where they are. So it looks like they're all clustering, but they're not. So here I just want to this is shortly after the last thing I just showed you, as Cecile's plane has clearly gotten away from where the clustering is, and I just want you to see this to have a better sense of what we're dealing with here. You know, at the very top, the landmass you see at the top, that is Iran. And then that water that's right below that, that narrow little strip, that is the Strait of Hormuz. That's where right now oil tankers and other cargo ships and everything are not going through there because it is a narrow strip of land and it is not hard for Iran to lay some mines in there, for Iran to attack. President Trump says, "Oh, have some balls, just go right through." Yeah, buddy, put your kids on some of those ships and send them through. Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't want to be on a ship going through there. Um, and then the body of water that's blue, that's a little bit bigger below that, that is the Gulf. Here they refer to it as Arabian Gulf. In America, we refer to it as the Persian Gulf. And then the landmass below that, that's the UAE. And so what you see, the little red things and whatever, that's the Dubai airport, Sharjah airport, and so forth. Cecile, if you're following the white line from the red plane, Cecile took off from Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is not in this picture. It's just a little bit beyond where this picture is. So the point of this is that in civil aviation, they are doing, oh, and just one more picture and you can come back to me. So an hour or so later, I screenshot this. This is after Cecile was now over the country of India, completely safe, you know, far away from anything that Iran could, whatever. And so then the transponder is back on, and so you're seeing all those little white things you're seeing there. Those are all the planes that are pretty much acting like nothing is happening in the world. So yay. Civil aviation has been incredibly disrupted by this war. It's been disrupted in many ways. First, obviously, in this region, planes can't take off if the airport's being attacked. You and that's happened several times. The number of the number of planes taking off and landing at UAE airports is even now less than less than a quarter, less than 25% of what it normally is. Good days a little bit more, bad days much less. Um, it's also disrupting aviation because aviation fuel is now way more expensive than it was before. So several airlines in Asia are now cutting flights and making sure that they're using every last drop of aviation fuel effectively because aviation fuel has skyrocketed in price. So there's nobody doing a wasted trip. The disruption of civil aviation is such that I don't know that there's an easy solution to this until there's a solution to the war. I We've never had a situation like this, ever. Let's be clear about that. In that, the President of the United States has made it clear that going after soft targets like airports and, you know, just today tweeted that he's going to bomb airports, bridges, power plants, everything, then that number one violates international law. Let that go, Steve. But this is a whole different war than any war that we've dealt with since World War II. It is. So, bottom line, civil aviation is doing their best to mask how their planes take off, where they're landing, what their routes are, so forth, whatever. They're masking it. And thank God there has been no civil aviation hits. And I pray that that continues. Anyhow, that's it. Tomorrow I'll go back into talking about news and all the good stuff. This is simply about aviation. Have a good day. Have a happy Easter. Talk to you tomorrow.